Hello, here is the Henk van GrowNomics. Nowadays Bitcoin is in the news all around the world, but a lot of people have no clue what's Bitcoin all about. And the central banks, the ECB, the Fed, they have spoke very badly about Bitcoin. They've said it's used by criminals, it's to launder money, it's for the dark net, etc., etc. But it's a little bit more complex than that. So let's have a look first to money. And it's very funny that the schools and the university are not teaching anything about money. But so important for so many people. And the reason I think why they're not doing that is because they want to keep the people dumb. Because if people really understand how money is created, I think we have a revolution going on. So let me explain you about money, and I'm going to tell you exactly the same story I told a few years ago to one of the board of directors of the JP Morgan Bank in New York. I was invited in Monaco by a good friend of mine for a breakfast, and he brought his banker, this guy from the JP Morgan Bank in New York, and I explained him exactly the same. He didn't know that. He understands the first type of money, what is not money really. So I told them there are three types of money in the world. The first one is fiat currency. That's the currency what is created by the central banks, like the ECB, like the Fed, like the Bank of England. So it's the euro, it's the dollar, it's the pound sterling. And this is called currency because, and not money, because it's not having a store of value. It's based on debt. And it's creating in two different ways. The first way is the central banks, they get an IOU from the treasury, and out of the blue they created in their computer, out of thin air, this money. They say they print a lot of money, but it is mostly in the computer digital, because there's much more digital than, of course, printed. The second way is when you take a loan on your bank, or maybe a mortgage. A lot of people think if I loan money, I get the money somebody else put in the bank account. That's not true. They created, at the moment you sign the agreement, the mortgage agreement, they created also in their computers out of thin air. And with some central banks they have to put 1 or 2 or 3% of the total amount as a collateral, but in some central banks now they don't have to do that either. So this is how money is created. And that's also the reason why the fiat currency goes down in value every year, because of the debasing of the currency. And in 1971, when Richard Nixon took the gold out of the dollar, we went off the gold standard, we got a new monetary system. When the dollar was then 100 cent worth, now is worth only 3 cents. And this is also the reason why so many families has to work very hard and can hardly pay their bill, because if your house goes up in price, it looks like your house become worth more. It's not true. If you look at the value, what's something different, for example in gold of your house, you see it's the same, but because of the debasing of the fiat currency, the price goes up, but you can do less and less with the same amount of money. And history has learned us that fiat currency always goes to zero. So there is, the first country who introduced fiat currency was China, and you have fiat currency who is 1,000 years old and it's worth nothing now, zero. And this going to happen again, and that is why the IMF, I must say, the International Monetary Funds, have asked for a second Bretton Woods. Bretton Woods 1944, the end of the Second World War. They create the new monetary system based on the dollar, the world currency, based on gold till 71, a new monetary system, because Richard Nixon took it from the gold standard. They want to have a new one because they also know it will at the end goes to zero. Now the second money is the real money. It's gold. JP Morgan, the founder of the same bank as the banker I spoke with, said gold is real money, everything else is debt. Maybe nowadays you can say gold, silver and Bitcoin is real money and everything else is debt, but that is my personal opinion, because I'm not here to give you investment advice. Now it says already more than 5,000 years proof it has a store of value. If we gonna, go diving in 1,000 years and we find, let's say, a boat on the floor of the ocean, a ship on the floor of the ocean, and in that ship is a lot of gold, it's still worth a lot of money. But if we found euros, it's worth 0, 100% 0. So that is the reason why gold is seen as an insurance, as a store of value to survive wars, to survive big events of crisis. And that's also why the rich family has survived that for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Now the third type of money is totally new, and I call that the people's money. It's cryptocurrency. And the best one is Bitcoin, because there's a totally separation between money and state. We have a separation in Europe of state and church, and now we have a separation of money and state. Now with Bitcoin you are the owner of your own money. With fiat currency you're not. Most people don't know that, but as soon as you deposit your money on the bank, the money is not from you anymore, because you are a not secured loaner to the bank. And yeah, you say, oh, we have a deposit insurance or security. Yes, you have till 100,000 euro, but if all the banks have problems, you will not have it, because there is not enough money there. The second thing with Bitcoin is you can spend it as you want. You cannot do that with fiat currency, because they always want to know what you're going to do, where you're going to transfer the money to. Can I see the invoice? And in Monaco, for example, it's not allowed to get more than 2,000 euro cash without giving a reason where you need it for. So you cannot decide over your own money. In the ATM machines in Monaco, also in France, you can only get 300 euro out of the machine. Doesn't matter if you have millions on your bank account or not. This is how it is. So, and the third thing is that Bitcoin is increasing in buying power, because there are only at the end 21 million Bitcoins. Now there are 18.5, of which maybe 3-4 million are lost. And more people, not only Main Street but also Wall Street, are now looking at Bitcoin as digital store of value, and also the hardest money, because you cannot print it. And as I said before, with fiat currency gonna go down in buying power because of the printing of money. Brrr, the printing machine. All right, anyway, that was it for today. I said have another look next week. Keep watching us so that you also get the knowledge, so that you can make the right decisions to get freedom, financially freedom in your life, even in those times, in these times I must say, from crisis. So this was the Henk from GrowNomics. Delight in this crisis, think positive, be a winner. See you soon. Take care.